Sustainability is a great opportunity for startups and young companies to grow a successful business. There is high potential to attract an investment and financing for innovators solving sustainability-related business challenges. At Rockit Impact Accelerator, we're connecting large companies, startups and like-minded people to encourage development of sustainable, innovative B2B solutions and, what is the most important, to land them on the market. Industry partners have a great opportunity to address real business challenges and pilot innovative solutions. As well, follow the startup's growth and get valuable insights, get inspiration. Following and piloting with a company that is well recognized on the market and has a large customer base is great for a startup to get visibility, get customers' trust and make the solution better. In the end of the accelerator, I hope teams will bring success stories and case studies out of the program, lead by example and encourage others to transform. Hello from Vilnius, Lithuania. We're streaming live from Rockit Innovation Center. Could it be a better day for a new start than the first day of spring? I'm happy to announce the start of Rockit Impact Accelerator. Today is the first day of the program and we're extremely excited to start this 4-month remarkable journey. Today, with our program partners, top business companies, startups and ecosystem builders, we will join forces to innovate and make positive impact. Within this upcoming hour, we will meet our program partners, see a sneak peek on the challenges they are bringing, and see selected startups. And as the cherry on top, we will have Fireside chat with 2 brilliant speakers discussing the innovation-driven sustainability. It's a special moment for us at Rockit, as this program was designed specially for Rockit Vilnius and will be hosted here in our hub. So let us welcome Šarūnė Smalakytė, the head of Rockit, for opening word.
Thank you, Katerina, very much. And hello, everyone. Thank you for joining on the other sides of our screen. And as mentioned, today is a special occasion, wrapping up 1 year of intensive work, great knowledge and experience put together into crafting this very inclusive program. For the first time in Lithuania, we have invited business leaders and startups to join their forces for boosting sustainable innovation and making a direct impact for wider business community. And when we started this journey, I couldn't say it was an easy way. We discovered that sustainability is still a very early stage topic. But knowing our core strengths as Rockit, which lay in community building, partnerships, and encouraging innovation, we took this challenge, seeing a massive opportunity in front of us. And today, staying here where we are and seeing how the program developed, I'm proud to say that there are no doubts about the success of this project, at least for a couple of reasons. First of all, the industry partners that joined the program are the leaders not only in their field of expertise, as well they are open for experimentation, and they are leading sustainability journey in Lithuania. They are the front runners in this sphere. On the other hand, the startups that have been selected for the program, they are already a great motivation for many of us, bringing their local and international experiences and having this "we can do it together" attitude will definitely be the driving force of this accelerator program. I would like to thank our partners in crime that actually turned a lot of ambitious plans into an action plan, aligned triple top line principles, which stand for people, planet, and profit across the whole accelerator program, and have this passion for sustainable transformation. Also, I would like to say a big thank you for the whole Rockit team that put their hearts and souls in making this program happen. And as well, will be leading the sustainability and impact-making ecosystem in Lithuania. For our program partners and startups, I would like to wish smooth collaborations, a lot of new learnings on the way, and as well, with this program, making by far the most impactful business decisions. So best of luck, guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Šarūnė. As you have mentioned, Rockit Impact Accelerator was established in cooperation with Katalista Ventures, a hybrid startup accelerator and private equity fund. And it's a pleasure to introduce you CEO and co-founder of Katalista Ventures, Greta Monstavičė. She is just finishing the startup scouting and jumping right into the chief mentor shoes. So welcome, Greta.
Thank you so much, Yekaterina, and thank you so much, Šarūnė, for such incredible words. It's really such a pleasure to be here, and it's literally difficult to understand that we are standing today here at the first day of spring and the first day of Rockit Impact Accelerator. As Šarūnė already thanked so many amazing people, we can only second that. And I think what's important today is to basically wish the wonderful things that we can wish for to our startups, partners, and our team. And I will like to do that wish according to the values that we hold really dear in Katalista Ventures. So the first one is being ever learning. We're gonna have incredible speakers and mentors in this program. You can literally not believe what we're gonna have here. So really join in, listen in to those mentors. Don't have this I know it all attitude. You're gonna be surprised. So that's the first one. Another one that's really, really important for us is being resilient. If you imagine, we literally created this program in the middle of the global pandemic. So it may not be easy going forward as well, but this is why we have this really hands-on, really practical program. And this is what we ask you to be: resilient and open-minded for these challenges. We're gonna support you in coping with those, and we're sure that we can be stronger afterwards. And finally, the triple top line. Šarūnė already told you a bit about that, and you've probably heard it from us multiple times now. And this is really about creating positive impact on people, planet, and profit. And what we want to have here is that you be not only a positive impact business for people and the planet, but actually a really, really good business for your profit as well. So let's have fingers crossed. Thank you so much for everyone. Thank you for the Rockit team. Thank you for the partners and the startups that are joining the program. And yeah, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Greta. Truly, I would like to join all the opening words and say thank you as well to our partners. The program wouldn't be possible without them, and now it's perfect time to meet them. Let's watch a short video about them and the challenges we were scouting together for. So, on to video.
At Swedbank, for many years, we work on topics of sustainability, and even though we progressed a lot, we still see some challenges for ourselves. And also, there's a lot of other businesses out there that struggle with the same issues and still are not able to measure carbon footprint. Therefore, I'm very, very excited that I have this chance to invite you to join the Rockit Impact Accelerator Challenge and to come up with solutions that would help for many, many businesses and the society and the world to run a more sustainable future.
We invite you to join us in our journey towards not such a distant future, where sustainable and environment-friendly energy plays a major role. We see it as our responsibility to be a leading provider of renewable energy products and solutions to consumers and businesses. Therefore, we invite you to build and develop a platform with us that will provide an easy access for everyone to solar energy and will help us to manage our renewable products and production capacity more efficiently.
We have identified great potential in applied space technologies, analysis of meteorological data, innovative methods of predicting agricultural outputs, new methods of communications are among the few projects that are on our agenda. Currently, we are looking for new startups to work with in space technologies.
We are here to bring it closer to the people, to reinvent better connected living. We have joined Rockit Accelerator because we believe in big data. Digital revolution led to situation that we are living in data-rich world. And we are here to help organizations to maximize their benefits using open data and create more sustainable world.
The current vision of sustainable agriculture in Lithuania, as in the whole Europe, is focused on the reduction of nature pollution and more efficient use of available resources. This is important in order to minimize the negative impact of human activities of nature. So Linas Agro is really happy to be part of that process and to be able to contribute to a cleaner planet. Our biggest strength is our wide range of activities across the group of companies. Linas Agro is engaged into multiple business related to agriculture across the Baltic states. So we are able to adopt various types of startups. Our challenge for today is innovation in remote crop or farm monitoring, telematics, and farm credit score estimation to work more efficiently and more profitably. We believe that our experience will help to bring a holistic point of view of agriculture to Rockit Impact Accelerator. So join with us.
Welcome back to the studio. What great experts we're going to have in the program. I'm so excited to start collaborating and partnering. But what is no less exciting are our startups, and we are about to meet them. We will show you a short video about each team and have a brief conversation with startups. The first team we are going to introduce is Alvax, a company from Switzerland, and they're game-changing the way how businesses and households get clean energy. They are a match for Elektrum Lithuania, so let's watch Alvax video.
As a household or business, making sure that the energy we consume is effectively reducing carbon emissions is difficult. For example, it's hard to access renewable energy sources despite the fact that they're just around the corner. Or we have no way to see how our own consumption over time relates to available green energy in our region. And most of the time, it's just more expensive than conventional sources. At Alvax, our mission is to make getting green simple and affordable. To achieve that, we offer an online marketplace where consumers and producers of green energy directly connect and exchange. We partner with local energy companies to deliver our online marketplace to their customers and reach as many households and businesses as possible. Let's take a look at our online platforms for businesses and households. The user journey starts in the cockpit, where businesses get an overview of their energy consumption of the last month, the different sources for the energy delivered, and overall tons of CO2 emissions displaced. In the hourly power mix, businesses can see the proof that their energy consumption is green 24/7 for all the locations, anytime. The energy provenance tracker shows each single asset which produced the energy consumed in the given time frame. The marketplace is the core of our solution. It brings consumers and producers together. Consumers can create their own portfolio of power producers by signing the selected assets and ordering the power mix. A prosumer household gets an overview of production and energy sold to the community on the one hand, and the power grid on the other hand. A consumer household has a control over energy flows and related costs at every instant. We aim to set up an integrated renewable energy ecosystem to accelerate energy transition and reduce transaction costs. Let's work together and join forces for a sustainable future.
Alvax. Hi, Frederick. Do you hear us?
I can hear you. Do you hear me?
Yes, great. Hello. So, how are you today?
Yeah, not bad. The sun is shining in Bern, in Switzerland, where I am. So I'm very happy.
Your background says that the stars are shining, so that's great too. So
yeah,
for us
yeah,
at Rockit, the space topic is very familiar.
Yes, you see behind, that's the Matterhorn. It's one of the most known mountains in Switzerland. Just to hide the rest of my office.
Great, welcome to the program, Frederick. You have had pilot with already several countries in European Union, Portugal, Switzerland, Germany. I believe that each country brings its own challenges. What challenges do you expect in Lithuania? Maybe you can tell, how do you imagine Lithuanians? Are they more like Portuguese or like Germans? Share your feelings.
It's difficult to say. So, as you said, each country has its own culture, which is somehow great to experience when you travel. But when you try to do IT softwares, it's way more difficult because each culture means a different way to onboard customer and different way to interact with them, as you have seen in the marketplace. So this design of marketplace, something like at the end of the day, we need to kind of fine tune for each country so that the product is at the end of the day unique for each country. So the first challenge here for us is that we don't know exactly how Lithuanians are. I mean, also from a previous experience in other companies, I didn't have a lot of projects there. So this is something completely new. And I think the energy business is also a strongly regulated business. So we will need to adjust to the regulations and local constraints of Lithuania, which will certainly also be a challenge.
True. Thank you, Frederick. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Best of luck in the accelerator, and hope to see you soon in our program activities. And we are moving to the second team. It's called SpaceApp. It's the company from Sweden. Together with Telesoftas IT company, they will join forces and innovate using AI automated satellite analysis. So let's watch SpaceApp video.
SpaceApp is the company protecting global infrastructure with AI automated satellite analysis. We're tackling the problem of global warming increasingly causing extreme fires, storms, and floods that damage infrastructure. For example, in 2018, under-inspected power lines sparked the deadliest fire in California history. Historically, this was remedied by aerial inspection, which is very slow, expensive, and resource intensive. Resources such as fuel, vehicles, and manpower. We propose a complete leapfrog, using existing satellites for inspection with automatic AI threat detection. We've constructed a dashboard that highlights and tasks potential threats automatically. In here, a utility company can find a specific threat, tasking to a clearing crew, and then follow up to see if the problem has been resolved before it even becomes dangerous. If you make a comparison between drones and helicopters on affordability and profit margin, you will find that we are truly a disruptive technology, providing a fast and secure worldwide delivery with zero carbon emissions. The global market for infrastructure inspection is 45.2 billion, and we are entering it through our beachhead, which is power lines. Since we have a very strong impact orientation, we've rendered some really good PR traction, and we've managed to secure partnerships for data and distribution and funding. If you find it interesting, don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you.
Thank you, SpaceApp team. I believe this solution has a great potential for partnerships on Lithuanian market, and I believe these guys will find potential partners from various industries in Lithuania. And we're moving on to the third team, Bank. This company is Sweden-based as well, and they are matching Swedbank challenge to close gaps and track businesses' footprint. Let's watch their video. Let's meet Bank.
Hi, I'm Tom Duncan, the CEO of Bank. We enable precise carbon reporting at scale. The end user problem we identified is that businesses are not aware of their carbon footprint and the market risks. Many businesses do not yet know or understand their carbon footprint and the risks associated with emissions exposure in today's market. They may not fully understand how their credit score and access to finance may be endangered or more expensive if they're exposed to carbon-intensive activities. And there is a lack of data-driven, actionable information and advice to businesses to reduce carbon emissions, create cost savings, and secure market share. Our customer solution is that we help banks enable their business end users to track their carbon footprint and access AI-driven reporting to increase sustainable business activities. Capital markets are aligning to deliver sustainable finance, and 12 trillion euros will flow into sustainable finance from now until 2030, and it's growing every year. How does this carbon footprint analysis work? I'll just share a screen for our carbon calculator, just a quick demonstration. So we take in the information, the business site, also the energy usage. We also track things like car fleets, renewable energy generation, if wood pellets or other biomass sources of energy are used. And so we help support banks to educate end users about their carbon footprint. We drive cost savings for business, and we strengthen brand power amongst climate conscious customers, as well as meeting regulatory requirements for our customers. We're backed by European Space Agency and European Institute for Innovation and Technology. And we have a great seasoned team from banking, finance, and have made emissions calculators for green buildings, real estate. We have a great team of market and product fit experts. We hope you've enjoyed our presentation today. We are Earthbank.
Thank you, Earthbank. Hello, Tom. Nice to see you again. Happy that you entered the program. You know, while scouting, we were so impressed by the number of great experts in your team. What is the secret of recruiting such great people and keeping them?
Absolutely. It's difficult to attract amazing technology talent, and in today's market, we need to offer much more than traditional, and that means offering impact, offering team the ability to set their own agenda, but also make sure that our culture is aligned with their vision in their life of what they want to achieve. And we think that finding one's true purpose in life is really what is at the heart of a great career, because it sets people on the right track. So yeah, we've attracted some great talent. Our head of AI, for example, our CTO, have built amazing technology applications in the past. And we're doing a lot across the board spectrum of sustainability and impact. So we're super happy to be working with yourselves, Rockit Impact Accelerator and Swedbank.
Great, I'm glad to hear that. So maybe you can disclose what is the biggest win you expect or you see for your company in the upcoming 2 years?
Well, we have a high ambition. We want to help the financial sector move to net zero as soon as possible. Now, there are some front runners of those who will become net zero faster than others. And in fact, potentially their loan portfolios or businesses may also become net zero. So we hope that at least one bank in Europe will enable to become net zero in the next 2 years to show the level of ambition. And that's what we'd love to see.
Thank you, Tom. So can't wait to start elaborating on the challenge together with your team. So best of luck. And we're moving to the fourth startup, it's Datahood. I'm so happy to announce them as these guys are from Lithuania. Datahood is a local intelligence platform helping businesses and city planners to analyze neighborhoods. So they will join forces with Telia Lithuania. Let's watch that video.
Hi, this is Vilnius, the city that is seen as creative, active, free, diverse, full of people and full of life, day and night.
However, this is only a historical center and its closest neighborhoods. Vilnius, as many other Northeast European cities, has one little problem. The majority of people actually don't live in this nice and cozy city center. They live in neighborhoods like this.
When we built these neighborhoods in the late 60s, we were happy to solve the housing problem. But it didn't take long to realize that Soviet urban planning works well for cars, but not for people.
Today, these neighborhoods with not so many activities are the most inhabited areas, but they are far away from the city center.
So, We drive cars to enjoy our majestic city center, where most action happens, or we drive to shopping malls. Nowadays, everyone owns a car, or two sometimes, so nobody cares to walk.
What if we could recreate those neighborhoods, recreate healthy, green and diverse life in them? Imagine how these places would change if we had our main needs within walkable distance and wouldn't be so dependent on cars.
The main missing ingredient for these neighborhoods is the right business or service for locals. In the age of information, that isn't so difficult to find out.
Therefore, we are creating Datahood, a location intelligence platform. It helps businesses to find their customers and for communities to get what they actually need in their neighborhoods.
Datahood gives you years of experience in location context in a matter of seconds.
Thank you, Datahood. Hello, Matas and Saulė. How are you today?
Hey, we're pretty good. Still quite cold in Lithuania.
I'm so happy you entered the program and you will be representing Lithuanian startup community at Rockit Impact Accelerator. So great news for all of us. I'm so intrigued with your solution, and I'm wondering, can your method, your solution, help city communities to get together and maybe even become more resilient?
Yeah, absolutely. That's our main goal. You know, as many neighborhoods around the world in the United cities, they have certain centers, which contains a lot of services and a lot of good stuff, you know. What we're experiencing in Lithuania is that we need to, and in a lot of other North or East European cities, is that we have to travel a lot to access all of that fun, you know.
Great. It's still an intrigue, and I'm wondering, how did the idea come to your heads to establish a company, to build a startup? Maybe you could tell us at the beginning of your story.
Yes, so both of us are architects, first of all. And yeah, we worked with architects, with cities, municipalities, and we saw that many decisions are made usually by intuition, by experience. Architects know well. They analyze the different locations. They work in the areas that they know for a while. And we thought, this is 21st century. We have a lot of location data. Why we don't use it? Why we don't use all the potential that it has to do this job for us and to save a lot of time and to have a bigger, wider image of the whole area of the location. And at the same time, we realized that it's something that is not only useful not only for architects or city planners or developers, but also for businesses, because they are also target audience who are also looking for specific locations that suits best their needs, that looks for the best location where their clients actually live. So we thought that this is something not only for architects, but also for businesses to be located in the best places in the neighborhood.
Great, thank you very much, guys. See you soon. Best of luck in the program. And our fifth partner, Linas Agro, is bringing the challenge of, and they are searching for innovative solution to make remote farm monitoring in the scope of this program, and they're just about finalizing the scouting these days. So follow the news, and we will announce the startup number 5 soon. So best of luck to all startups and the teams. And now it's time to announce the 2 inspiring speakers for the Fireside chat, which we will have just in a few minutes. Schillebeeckx, founder and co-founder and chief strategy officer at Handprint, and Sandra, Särav, head of sustainability at Bolt company. So do we have speakers for Fireside chat online? Hello?
Hello, hello.
No. So on to you guys.
Okay, how do you want to do it, Simon?
I mean, I'd say ladies first, so you can start quizzing me if you want.
Okay, maybe I'll just introduce myself real quickly, and then I'll ask you to do the same. So, hi everyone. I have to say that the latest or the last startup that was advertised here caught my attention the most, because these are the problems I can actually feel in my heart, you know, and in our business. Everything that has to do with urban planning and, you know, especially us ex-Soviet countries here, and how our cities are being planned and how car-oriented we are and how motorized our cities are. So that's why when Bolt was launched already in 2013, the idea was to reduce dependency on personal cars and actually to use more shared assets. So this was back then, and now fast forward to 2021, and Bolt really tries to figure out how to reduce inherently our carbon footprint. Because you can imagine that even though Bolt doesn't own any cars, we're in 40 countries, you know, and that's kind of crazy if you think about what's the carbon footprint of all of the rides that we facilitate. So that's why I'm working as the head of sustainability at Bolt. Hope it's a familiar company for you in Lithuania. Unfortunately, maybe not so familiar to you in Singapore, but we'll get there. So I'm very much looking forward to have this chat with you, and the floor is yours.
Hey, thanks, Sandra, and thanks everyone for being here, and thanks to the Rockit team for inviting me again. So I'm Simon. I am a academic turned entrepreneur. I've got my company now, Handprint, which is a positive impact platform that helps companies integrate various types of positive impact, from mangrove reforestation, as some companies are doing as well, but to any type of positive impact that aligns with the 17 sustainable development goals. And we integrate that into business processes and kind of connect those contributions to good causes to key performance indicators of companies. So that's what we do. And I also have a non-profit organization that specifically works on mangrove reforestation, and really happy to be here and to be invited. So I think there's a big scale difference in terms of the company Sandra is working for and the company that I founded. So we are in the early stages, have just raised our first seed round, went from 3 to 14 people. You're of course now working in already a multinational, 40 countries. But let me just ask you, because I don't like interviews where the questions are too simple, so I'm only going to ask you difficult questions, and I absolutely encourage you to do the same. So, is private transportation, or everyone's private driver, to go back to Uber's old adagio, is it even possible to be sustainable?
Okay, that's indeed a tricky question. Well, I'm not going to lie to you, it's super difficult in a way that I mentioned. You know, Bolt has 1.5 million drivers in the 200 cities that we operate. And, you know, you can imagine how many rides those 1.5 million drivers do. And I mean, it's 2021, but still we talk about ICE cars, so internal combustion engine cars. There are not too many EVs out there to battery price, etc. So, of course, in an ideal world, to go sustainable, it would mean that we offer those transportation systems or intermediate those transport systems with sustainable vehicles, you know, electric cars, hybrid cars. But the fact is, if you think about a country like Estonia, so Estonia, Tallinn is 400,000 people. Tallinn has 300,000 cars. Can you imagine that? And but altogether in Estonia, we have only 1,700 electric cars. So it's clear that if we want to offer the service, we cannot actually do it solely with electric cars, because that's for the entire population of Estonia. And on our platform, we maybe have like 50 electric cars. So it's kind of tricky. So, but how do you then go sustainable? And this is what we try to figure out. And that's why Bolt came out with the e-scooter solution, or e-scooter service. Like, I believe us as companies, as transportation companies, can be sustainable if we figure out ways how to offer more sustainable transportation methods. You know, electric cars instead of ICEs. As long as electric cars are not available, let's go to micromobility, because cars themselves are not going to fix the problem.
a problem of urban planning, problem of people moving around in the city, problem of a car sitting somewhere in a parking lot for 95% of the time, and it's only being used 5% of the time. So it's difficult, but we try to get there.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. I think it is true. It is extremely challenging. And just to maybe add on to that, so it's because we all use this word sustainable, of course, and obviously as part of this accelerator, this is what everything is about. Like, what is sustainability for you? Like, when is something sustainable?
Well, it's also a tricky question. As you know, there's a lot of greenwashing out there, right? Which is something I definitely want to talk to you about later on. But for me, going sustainable is actually not compromising with the natural resources and the planet that we have at the expense of offering your own business service. So, whatever it is, making fizzy drinks to, manufacturing houses or offering a transportation service. If your service comes at the expense of someone else's resources, then it's not sustainable. So I guess, like, by and large, we can think of sustainability such as this one.
Yeah.
Okay, but you've got 2 questions for me already, so I'm going to ask questions from you now. So the company Handprint, it's such a cool name, but you immediately want to think about footprint. So what is Handprint if it's not footprint? Would you care to explain a bit?
Sure. So for us, the choice of naming the company Handprint was very deliberate. So in the kind of eco community, handprint is sometimes used to denote the sum of positive impact, whereas footprint is almost what you do by default. And unfortunately, what we do by default, because of our industrial ecological system, is typically not very good for the planet. And so what handprint is kind of the sum of all the positive actions you take deliberately in order to make a positive change in the world. And as a company name and as a vision, we found this to be very aspirational. So one of the things that we realized, and so also me in my academic research in the past, is that we've been having this conversation about carbon footprinting for a very long time. And this is definitely not an attack on the guys from Earthbank, because I think what you guys are doing is awesome and it looks really, really cool. But the conversation that focuses on footprinting is a conversation that focuses on historical guilt and trying to potentially buy kind of indulgences for your sins, to talk in a kind of Catholic frame of mind. And the problem with that conversation for me is that it's not aspirational. If the highest goal that you can achieve is 0, you're going to find it very hard to motivate a large group of people to aspire to that goal of 0, to aspire to that goal of neutrality. And as a consequence, we wanted to really change the language and focus the conversation completely on the positive side, on the handprint, on what you can do deliberately to do good. And one of the main advantages I think we have with this narrative and with this vision is that it's way more inclusive, right? Bolt is now a big company, and you guys have the talent, the skills, the resources to measure your carbon footprint, to map all these things. You may be able to hire consultants to do all this work, and potentially you're big enough to move systems at an institutional level, right? If you're a small SME and you want to do, let's say you're a small SME in Singapore and you want to be green or greener, well, the first thing you would think about is, okay, I'm going to buy green energy. Good luck. Does not exist in Singapore, right? Or I'm going to try to convince my supply chain to use recycled plastics or something. But you need market power. You need size to be able to really make those changes. And so what I think is interesting about handprint is, look, everyone can do it, from an individual, from a 5-year-old kid to an SME to potentially a very big organization. Everyone can say, I'm going to do something deliberate that is good. And you don't need massive scale for that. Because if we bring scale and if we bring aggregation of all these positive impacts, then every little truly helps.
Okay, but now I'm going to be a bit pessimistic. And ask you, like, if you focus only on being positive and leaving this positive handprint, and I'm going to use that definitely. I hope it's going to become the Google of searching things, you know, leaving a handprint. Don't you think maybe people set aside the negative aspects and you know, there's a threat of going on and doing greenwashing and stuff like this? Or how do you feel about this one?
I mean, it is a risk. I think there are many different ways to look at that. One is that we've been spending a lot of time already last 30 years. And of course, every year it's more and more talking about footprints, and we haven't really solved any of the real problems we're facing. So potentially that focus on negativity and the negative things isn't really driving massive inspiration, isn't really driving massive innovation. Secondly, like, I've done some research on this, and I'm actually in favor of greenwashing. And this is controversial, but the reason why I think greenwashing is a good thing is not because I like it that companies lie and get away with it. It's because I believe that there is currently so much attention, especially to bigger organizations, but increasingly to smaller organizations as well, to what they're doing, that if they start making claims that aren't backed by science, by solid verification, they're going to be held accountable, they're going to be exposed. And typically what happens when such accountability inevitably occurs is that, well, so first they were just talking the talk, and then they said, okay, well, now we got caught red-handed, maybe we're also going to start walking the walk. And so in that way, I think the fact that greenwashing is almost a necessity if you're an evil company, let's say, is actually a good sign. It just means that there is so much institutional and social pressure on companies to be green, that if they can't really be green, well, at least they're going to pretend. And so it does enhance our awareness of it. It creates visibility. And so in that way, I think, yes, there is a positive side to it. Now, do I encourage it? No. And when we have conversations with clients, we do want them to start with minimizing emissions, reducing their footprint, thinking about their impact on land, water, other kind of aspects. And we want to have that conversation with them as well. But I think we prefer to have the positive conversation. And if companies then make claims about, okay, we are now, whatever, 10 times climate positive, awesome, that's good. And if people don't believe it, then fine, they can be held accountable. But there is also a business, let's say there's a business risk reduction for us in not being involved with the footprinting side. Because if we're involved with that side as well, then we're going to be held accountable for claims that companies make. If we are only involved with the positive side, we can absolutely guarantee this is a positive impact this company is having. We're monitoring this, we're tracking this, we're providing all this data. That's great. If you want to make claims about being climate neutral, that's up to you. And so there is a kind of self-preservation as well as a company. You have to fight your battles. You can't do everything. So yeah, I think that's how we see that. But it may not be the right approach, right? We're still small, and but,
no, I agree.
But we do see. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I like how you said that greenwashing actually has a positive impact, and because it creates more fuss around this. And you know, my worry is, and what I see also with startups in Estonia, with whom we actually founded something known as the Tech Green Pledge, is that many companies actually even don't start going sustainable because they're so afraid of being labeled as doing greenwashing. So for some, it seems safer to, you know, sit in the sidelines and look at what others are doing, and then, you know, they don't get pointed at as saying that, oh guys, you are doing greenwashing, because they're actually doing nothing. So for some, it seems safer to do nothing as opposed to do something and be labeled as greenwashers. So
that's true.
That's a big problem. Yeah.
No, I think that is a very big problem. And a lot of that has to do, I think, with lack of knowledge, lack of time, lack of awareness in terms of where to start. So just to give you an example, over the weekend, a friend of mine who works for a big shipping company, right? This is a very polluting industry, approached me and said, I've been talking to my boss about your company. He really wants to meet because we have to do sustainability, right? That's how it kind of starts. It's not value driven for many companies. We have to do sustainability. It's like, okay, cool. Let's have a conversation. Yes, but do you know a place where we can buy recycled paper? And I'm like, well, okay, but this is what people do because there is no awareness, and they're like, well, this is not what you should be focusing on. You're in shipping. The last thing you should focus on is buying your paper recycled. It's of course a good thing, but this is not where your environmental impact is. So, and I think what is really the challenge for many companies that are kind of sitting on the sidelines is like, well, either we're afraid of being labeled as greenwashing, so we rather do nothing. Yes. So I think a company like Handprint says like, fine, you can just do something good and you can communicate about that, and at least it's going to be trustworthy because you have this external party that verifies all of those things. And so for many companies, it could also just be a first step into this journey, and then over time, hopefully they'll do something more substantial that also involves reduction and all of those kind of things. And I think for still for so many companies, and then again, you guys are in Europe, I've been in Singapore now for the past 6 years. Like Asia is decades behind Europe. Like, I mean, you can't even imagine how uneducated people are here, even in Singapore, right? Where this is a very vibrant and a very affluent cosmopolitan city. But if you think about like waste recycling, plastic bags, all of those things, it's completely alien to the population here. So we really start from a different vantage point. And as a consequence, we need to go a lot further. Now, on the other hand, Singapore is one of the greenest cities in the world. Despite its incredible dense population, it has still 53% of greenery of the land mass. They have incredibly good public transport, increasingly moving towards sustainable and like electrification and all of those things. So that is then, I think, a very good point. But with Bolt, to what extent is this part of your vision as an organization, right? Do you define yourself as a mobility company? Do you define yourself as a rent a car, or is it more like, no, we are in this business of creating transport solutions for cities? And how does that work for you guys?
Yeah, so for us, we're a bit lucky in a way that, you know, our CEO was 19 at the time when he started this company. So now he's 26. And this means also his mindset is a bit different, you know, not complaining that people who are older don't care about the environment, but, you know, especially us in the Central and in Eastern European countries, you know, when we grew up, we didn't think about the environment. You know, we built the Ruštovkas, or like big apartment buildings, which were meant to last for maximum 10 years. And now they've been there for, you know, more than 5 decades, more than half a century already. And so us at Bolt, you can say that sustainability is like integrated into the business vision. However, it's not also butterflies and flowers and everything so nice, because we have 2,000 people working at Bolt. And Bolt is a startup, we're a scale up now. And still, whenever you go with an idea to someone, they ask, okay, what's my immediate ROI? What's my immediate return on investment? What do I get out of this business-wise? And with sustainability, you know, that's still, this is something known as the operational principle we call short-term pessimism, long-term optimism, in a way that you might think that we cannot make a difference, or, you know, we don't understand what, from business perspective, what's the immediate ROI, you know, or from the planet's perspective, what's the immediate ROI. And then it's a bit difficult, and you have to shake some people, and you have to let them know that, you know, this is the inherent vision of this company, is to be sustainable. But still, not all of the people get that. But, you know, from the big perspective, yes, as you mentioned, we are meant to be the urban transportation disruptors, in a way that Bolt was the first transportation platform who had not only ride-hailing, but then also e-scooters, and then also e-bikes, and now also food on exactly the same platform. So what we offer already should serve as a go-to platform for people if they want to move around in the cities, in a way that, you know, this is my route. I need to get from A to B. What do I do? You know, take first stop with an e-scooter, then jump on the public transportation bus, then take the last mile on foot, or if it's too long, take it with ride-hailing car. So we see ourselves as not offering only one service and one urban mobility option, but rather bringing together different modes of transport and offering them in the most sustainable way, because we can also influence the user behavior within our app. So we started testing how do we get people from ride hailing, which is our core service, to e-scooters actually. And my hometown, which is the summer resort of Estonia, it's called Pärnu. We saw like 30% of leap from people from ride hailing to e-scooters over the summer months, just because we made them available, we made them accessible. We talked about the service being available. So we see that already within our services, we can go more sustainable as well. So I would say for sure, like sustainability is what we live and breathe.
It's very interesting because I mean, you obviously recently got a massive round of investment. I think that's public knowledge, right? Yeah. So for as far as you already know, because it's quite recent, but so how do you think Bolt's kind of nature, its DNA might be affected by now having this big Chinese investor that may not really care about the sustainability angle, especially if you're giving examples like, oh, we're actually trying to go from a ride-hailing, potentially high profit use case within our platform to a lower impact, but potentially also lower profit use case. Like, how are you dealing with these trade-offs?
Well, they're not trade-offs really, because I think all of the investors, they see the need for sustainability. And I think Bolt has really set the tone in a way that our co-founder, who's one of the two founding brothers, Martin Vilik, has been named as the VP of Sustainability of Bolt as well. So if already at this level you have dedication, and I'm the head of sustainability, we have a dedicated team, we have dedicated funding, etc. Then due to any new investors, we're not going to step back. But can I still ask a few questions from you as well?
Please do.
Yeah. So how do you prioritize your market segments, thinking you do what you do? Isn't it kind of tricky, or how does this work?
I think it is the quintessential problem of every startup, right? And the honest answer is, like, I have no idea. So, because we set up Handprint with the idea to build an e-commerce integration, and so we have that now. So Shopify users, WooCommerce users can integrate Handprint in a few clicks and can start connecting their checkout sales to online to positive causes, to positive impact causes. And that's interesting because if you look at e-commerce in general, obviously it's skyrocketed during the COVID crisis, but also it's created, it's an industry in which 80% of purchases are stuck in the cart. And so very often people are selecting a bunch of things and end up not buying them, especially for slightly pricier goods. And so if Handprint as a reminder that shows up at the e-commerce at the moment of checkout already can say, like, okay, maybe it might incentivize 1% of people to say, oh, well, I was going to wait for a week, or I was potentially not sure, but now they're doing this good thing, I might as well buy it, right? That's a massive game changer. And so we're working with the university and with some of our early stage clients to actually test whether this is true. That's going to be really interesting for us to see. But the challenge beyond e-commerce integration is that we are being approached by very different industries. So in the last 2 weeks, we've been talking with a competitor of yours in Asia. We've been talking to advertising companies, because they want to be able to integrate, for instance, reforestation projects into marketing campaigns, into impressions. We've been talking with hotels, we've been talking with banks, we've been talking with data providers. So the scope is very, very broad. And as a consequence, how we're going to focus and how we're going to allocate our resources is, I think, a key challenge. And I'm sure other startups have experienced the same thing. We are still really in the experimentation phase there. We have our first 2 products, so we have a go-to market. This is the focus. We are building a consumer product as well. But we really haven't figured that out. So any advice from the audience or from the other, especially from the other people that are joining this the accelerator, would be very welcome. Maybe it's a luxury problem to have a lot of different markets, but it does make it very complex. And maybe kind of flipping that question around to you is also like, you guys operate in so many different markets, but I'm sure there are very big differences in the needs of this market, what is possible there? We were talking earlier before the call saying like, oh yeah, we can't go to Germany because of barriers to entry. So how do you approach different markets as Bolt? Do you have a standard template? Are you like moving fast and breaking things like Uber, or do you have a different way of going into a market?
No, actually we have and it's a really good question, because we do have a super tailor-made approach to all of the markets. And this is something we're really proud of. And this is something how we differentiate ourselves from our competitors. Like, we're very local oriented. Actually, when Bolt first started launching markets in Africa, we didn't have the money to send teams over to Africa. So what we did was we recruited over Skype. We recruited local teams to tell us what are local problems and how to solve them in a local manner, right? And this mindset has prevailed throughout all these years that Bolt has been operating. Whenever we launch a new country, a new market, we hire locally, we research what are the local problems and how to solve them in a way that would appeal to the local customers. And I think this is absolutely crucial, like to figure out what are the local needs. I mean, and it's not only between African markets and European markets, like something that's relevant in Stockholm is not necessarily relevant in Bucharest or even Tallinn, not to mention Lagos, you know. So tailor-made approach is crucial.
And is that approach, is that kind of also present in the way you're approaching your like positive impact projects? You have these climate positive scooters, and so are they also like supporting them very local projects? And if so, isn't there a massive opportunity cost of doing that in terms of efficiency of carbon sequestration, in terms of money allocation? Like, how do you rhyme those two conflicting needs?
So what we do, to be like completely honest with you, so currently when Bolt started offsetting our rides, all of our rides are carbon neutral in European markets, because when we started it, we saw that this is not necessarily a prerequisite or of getting a service in many of the African markets who maybe prioritize safety first. So what we did, we chose the project with which we offset our rides in the African markets. So we offset the rides in Europe, but the projects we choose in Africa, you know, whether it's building water infrastructure, financing the building of wind turbines or solar energy, etc. So the projects are normally there in Africa. But these are the wide scale projects. But otherwise, we try to do one local project in all of the markets where we operate. It doesn't have to be like a huge project. It could be something local, like building something locally, building a school even, or then solar panels on top of that school then, or just planting trees, like a couple of thousand trees locally. So we try to, and then we also figure out with the local teams, what are the things that matter the most in this community? And then we do those local projects. And I think that's crucial.
Yeah.
So how are we doing with time? I do have one life-changing question.
Oh, I think we always have time for a life-changing question.
No, I was just wondering earlier, you mentioned that Singapore is light years away in some matters from, let's say, Western European markets. Like a question, do you believe regulation is a key? Oh, because I actually worked before in the public sector for the Estonian government, and then we all believed that everything should be tech neutral, let's not over-regulate. And then I came to the tech sector, and we actually call some of the regulation to be put on us, you know, and for matters such as sustainability, do you think regulation is something that could help us and help the world go more sustainable? What do you think?
I mean, if you live in Singapore and if you don't like rules, then you shouldn't live in Singapore. I think it's one of the most regulated markets in many aspects in the world. It's a very tightly controlled population. It's very rule-based, somewhat still of a semi-planned economy, but it's just done right because people in the government are the best paid people in the entire country. So you get extremely smart and extremely talented people in government. But I think in general, we need more when it comes to climate specifically, but not only climate change, but also thinking around like biodiversity support and these things. We probably need more global regulation. The problem is we don't have a global governance system that has any teeth. And the UN doesn't really do this. World Bank and the IMF can kind of support, but I think that in order to achieve what we need to achieve, but scientists are telling us that we need to achieve in terms of carbon reduction, a pure reliance on voluntary initiatives is probably not going to cut it. I would say we need to go further, and it's almost baffling that this doesn't happen. It's almost proof of like how dysfunctional political systems are, that they can't make these short-term sacrifices for the long-term good for the future generations. And it's especially democracies that are unable to do so, because they elect, in some countries like in the US, they just elect idiots that then spend 4 years ruining it for everyone. Or they but that's still like, even like in my country, Belgium, where we always have like governments for a couple of weeks and then we have 500 days of negotiation about the next government. So it's impossible to make long-term policy if your real-time horizon is the next election, right? And I think this is a key challenge, and that's why I think we need more regulation, but we need almost very enlightened regulation that comes from, maybe not from policymakers, but from other people. And I'm hoping that like civil society and younger people like Greta Thunberg and that are leading this movement of young kids that are becoming powerful voices in this, that they might move the needle. And of course, some of them have already moved the needle, but I think we will still need regulation. I'm just not sure if the regulation is going to come from the existing political system. Maybe it might have to come from just, self-regulation from companies. But then how do you deal with free riders? I don't know.
Yeah.
How do you guys deal with free riders? And in Bolt, that must be a big.
No, we were once those, so it's, what can you do?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I may then ask the one last question, they haven't told us to shut up yet. Then
we're about to do so, but one last question. But one last question, and we can afford. So please shoot.
Okay. Simon, what's in it for you in the next coming year with Handprint? If it's not a big
secret. Gosh. I mean, we're raising funds. That's definitely going to be an exciting part. We are hoping to grow our e-commerce platform from where we are now to maybe 2,000 to 5,000 users, and then have some bespoke implementations for some of the big organizations we're talking to. Can't name names given NDA requirements, but it's looking very exciting. We're hoping to grow our team from where we are now, 14 to 25, 30 by the end of the year. And and then we'll see. What about Bolt?
Well, we plan to expand to 14 more countries this year, so behold.
Okay, that's also very exciting.
Thank you so much, guys. Such positive energy flow from the other side of the screen. Very interesting things you were talking about and discussing. So please make one last sentence. Give us advice or wishes for our startups or the program team. So please shoot.
Shall I start? I'm already going to meet with at least 2 people in the project. I think you've done an incredible job at selecting really interesting organizations. I have sent websites through to some of the people and the companies that we're working with here. So I'm very excited. I hope I can be involved and that I get to speak with all of the people. And I think the great opportunity that we have right now, and I think all of the companies that you've selected are in this space, is that what digitization has enabled is that companies can create public goods while appropriating private value. To a certain extent, that was very hard to do before digitization, especially digital assets were really required to do so. And I think this is where the future is going to be. And so I wish all the startups all the best.
I'm a bit more laconic in words. Something I've learned both in public sector and private sector, don't forget to listen to your clients. They know what they want.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being with us. What a great day. Thank you all for sharing with us this special moment. There are 4 months of challenges and achievements and partnerships ahead, and great content as well. We are bringing, as Greta was mentioning in the beginning, the high-class experts and mentors from all over the world, actually. And some of the keynotes will be exclusively streamed live on Rockit YouTube channel or Facebook page. So already tomorrow, 4 p.m., we invite you for the keynote by Rick Rasmussen. He's Silicon Valley native expert, and he will share his insights on accelerating B2B startups. So what you can do now, you can go to Rockit Vilnius Facebook page and register for the keynote. So to stay in touch and follow our agenda, make sure that you follow Rockit Vilnius on social networks. And let me remind you that the program has its special website, impact.rockitvilnius.com. And as I was saying in the beginning, today is a great day for a new start. May this spring brings you inspiration, new fresh ideas, and positive vibes only. Thank you very much for being with us. See you soon.